I'm gonna say this one time real loud with my full chest, so go ahead and hear me out on this one. If working is mandatory, if labor is something we are required to do in order to prove we deserve our existence, if we have no choice but to choose an occupation whether or not we want it, if you are forcing me to sell my body to do somebody else's labor and telling me I have no other choice and neither does anyone else, you shouldn't have any other choice but to give us a roof over our heads, food for our stomachs, and whatever else we need to survive! If you want us to be forced to work, but do not want to guarantee life necessities, that is slavery, and whatever else we need to survive! If you want us to be forced to work, but do not want to guarantee life necessities, that is slavery, you squad! Want to guarantee life necessities, that is slavery, you squads! This country loves slavery, they just rebranded it! And don't tell me to leave these! That is slavery, you squads! This country loves slavery, they just rebranded it! And don't tell me to leave! I would if I had the fucking money! But that's the whole point of this system, you dumb fuck! Fuck this country!
Explain to me in crayon-eating terms why I make over 3 times the federal minimum wage and I cannot afford to live. And I do not want to hear the pull yourself up from your bootstraps, work 90 hours a week. That's not the goal, guys. That should not be our standard. I am so fucking tired of people being complacent with this uniparty, both of them fucking us over. When my parents were my age, they both made less than half of what I make, and they lived alone. I cannot afford to live anywhere alone. A 1-bedroom apartment, $1,800. 2-bedroom apartment, $2,200. Who the can afford that? It is embarrassing to come out and say that it is a struggle to survive right now, but I know so many people are struggling. And do not get me started on what my grandparents were doing. They $3,000 house. And yes, I understand inflation and all of the bullshit that they have been pulling with the Fed. Why are we allowing it? Why? And then I clock out of my shift. I am tired. I have to go home. And I check the news. Another $65 billion to a country nobody can point out on a map. What are we? I am tired. I have to go home. And I check the news. Another $65 billion to a country nobody can point out on a map. Billion to a country nobody can point out on a map. What are we doing? Where has the plot gone?
Is slavery, you squads!
All praises and glory goes to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakodash, double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, salutations to the elect men feeding the sheep of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, in sincerity and in truth with this great gospel coming out of our Bible, man, coming out of our Bible, and the scriptures are coming to life, right? Esau is drinking from that cup, right? That cup. Let me get this verse. This is the book of Lamentations 4 verse 21. It says, rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. It says, the cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken, and shalt make thyself naked. And shalt make thyself naked. And what the truck, it says, cup of fear, trembling. Right? And these Edomites, they seem that their future is scarce. Right? They don't have no hope in their future. It's looking dark. Right? It's looking grim. It's not too pleasing. It's not too satisfying to the heart, to their mind, right? Because they see what the world is turning against them. The world is turning against them, and that 1,000 years after, when Yahweh Shai come ain't even started yet. Here we are. This man is, you see the one Edomite, he's one generation from when his parents were doing good. He said, my mother and my parents, they lived alone. They could afford it, and I can't afford nothing. And Esau ready to crash the fuck out. Esau recognizing his captivity has begun, right? The scriptures talk about these are the beginning of sorrows, not just for Israel, but for these other nations. For these other nations, right? This is the book of Proverbs 10, verse 24. It says, the fear of the wicked, it shall come upon him, right? What is the fear of the wicked? Poverty, right? Losing that greatness that they have on the earth. And who's the wicked? The so-called white man, Esau Edom. So-called white man, Esau Edom. How do we know? The scriptures speak about the different things that the wicked would do, right? The different attributes of the wicked, right? Esau, the wicked is blessed with the sword. Esau is blessed with the sword, right? The wicked will do wickedly, none of the wicked shall understand, right? And what else? He exalted himself above the Most High, right? You look at these other nations, they believe in a so-called God, but this so-called white man, he think he is God. Ain't no God, right? He done set up the false deities from the past other nations to trick you people, but them motherfuckers worship who? Lucifer. They worship Satan, right? So what's going on right now? They being brought low, man. Let's read this again. It goes to the book of, let's go to the book of Proverbs 10, verse 24. It says, the fear of the wicked, it shall come upon him, but the desire of the righteous shall be granted, right? And who's the Lord gonna bless? He gonna bless Israel. The Lord is here for the Israelites. And if you believe in this truth, man, hit that thumbs up, right? That's another thing. You motherfuckers, man, leave a comments, right? You supposed to be professing this truth. Leave comments, hit the thumbs up, promote these videos. We supposed to exalt Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, so why we could get the fuck out of here. This ain't about promoting another man's page. It's about us getting the hell out of here so the elect could be sealed, right? You should be pushing this gospel, even if you ain't a preacher, right? I'm gonna read it again. Proverbs 10, verse 24, it says, the fear of the wicked shall come upon him, but the desire of the righteous shall be granted. This is Psalms 2 and 8. It says, ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession, right? The heathen is who? Esau Edom, the Moabites, the Chinese, Ammon, the Japanese, the other nations, right? Who's the chosen? The children of Israel. We about to possess these other nations, and these other nations, starting with Esau Edom, he's seeing the downfall, right? The other nations, they're too dumb and retarded, right? It's right now the main focus is on who? Esau Edom, the wicked. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth, right? And that's the fear of this devil, man. He don't want to lose his authority. Amos 9 and 11. In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old, right? When you go to the time when King David was ruling, all the Israelites were together, right? The tribes were together. That's what the Lord's about to do. He's about to bring the tribes back. It says, Ephraim shall not vex Judah, shall not, paraphrasing, you know what I'm saying, you know the verse, can't remember it right now, right? All that it did, division and separation between the northern and the southern kingdom is about to be shut down. And who's helping it? Esau Edom, right? Because I put up the video, the Latino said, now I feel the pain of the black people, right? The so-called Hispanics, they're understanding what we went through, right? Because they got a pass because of their lighter complexion, right? So right now they're going through it. They're being deported. They're being put in these concentration camps, these Alcatrazes, right? They being snatched up from their family members, right? The shit is fucking painful and embarrassing, but guess what? They deserve everything they fucking going through, because guess what? If you was repentant and return back to the Lord, you ain't got nothing to worry about. You ain't got nothing to worry about. They still thinking about Jesus Christos. I ain't seen no video they ass is calling on white Jesus. That's the other thing too. What happened to Jesus? What happened to Jesus? I ain't seen one video of a Latino calling, Jesus, please help Guadalupe. Please come do something, please. I ain't seen no videos because they don't believe in that bullshit. You know what they believe in? They believe in, hey, man, burn down. Don't let no motherfucking cracker in Mexico have a business. Right? And it's not just going to spread through Mexico. It's going to spread through Central, South America. It's going to spread around the world. Anything where Esau Edom at. That's why it says, rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom. The cup will pass on through thee. Right? You about to become public enemy number one on the face of the fucking earth. Right? It says, in that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen and close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old, that they may possess the remnant of who? Edom, the so-called white man. Esau, you are going into captivity. You will become a slave. Don't complain about a 9 to 5. Matter of fact, now you doing you doing 12-hour shifts, 16-hour shifts. That was unheard of at one time. Right? I was a white man working that long. Come on, man, that's crazy, man. Right? Now you got to do it because you have no choice. Back then you was doing it for overtime and getting that extra bread. Now you're doing it because you have no choice. If you don't do it, you can't pay your bills. It says that they may possess the remnant of Edom and all of the heathen, all the motherfucking heathens. We're going to possess Chinese, East Indians, Arabs, right? Hawaiians, right? Polynesians, all them different island heathen people. And what we're going to do, we're going to beat the laws and statutes into their asses. They're going to have to get rid of their false deities and their idols, right? And the way they live and the way they eat and the way they operate. It says that they may possess the remnant of Edom, that they may possess this is the Bible, that they may possess the remnant of Edom. So the children of Israel, we're going to get to rule over our enemies, that they may possess the remnant of Edom and all the heathen which are called by my name, saith the Lord that doeth this. Who's going to put this together? Who's putting this whole thing together? Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai. This is Jeremiah 30:16. It reads, therefore all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them shall go into captivity. Right? That's why in Revelation to tell you, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. This white man hasn't went into captivity yet. After what he has done since the Renaissance, the rebirth, the rebirth of Esau Edom, the conquistadors going through every country, taking over. Right? British, French, Spaniards, right? Dutch, right? All these different European, Caucasian, Edomite people, right? Taking over the world and killing and robbing and stealing. That's what they did, right? It says, therefore, all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity. And they that spoil thee shall be a spoil. Why you think the motherfucking elites finna hide? They don't want to go, man, they said, man, we finna hide, man. The motherfuckers, they got the Bible. They got people breaking down the Bible. They watching the internet. They watching the prophets. You know they watching the elders and the apostles. Right? Because that's the elites of Israel right now. The elders and the apostles and the bishops and the men of the Lord. This is the elites of Israel. And you know they watching us. And it says, therefore all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity. And they that spoil thee shall be a spoiled, and all they that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. For I will restore health unto thee, and I will heal thee of thy wounds, saith the Lord, because they call thee an outcast, saying, this is Zion, whom no man seeketh after. Right? O nation not desired. Gather yourselves, right? We're being gathered while these other nations are being broken the fuck up. Right? The nation, the Lord got them motherfuckers about to go to war with each other. Right? The Lord got them nations about to go to war at each other, man. Got them going to war with each other. Right? He got his angels going through, stirring the minds of these leaders in these different kingdoms, leading them to what? World War III, baby. I hear, let's read Isaiah 14:1. It says, for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own lands. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. Right? For them, these strangers are Israelites. They're cleaving, they're returning back. Because why would a fucking heathen want to cleave unto us when we're going to put them into captivity? Don't nobody want to be a slave. Right? Right? These strangers is Israel. And they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. Next verse. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. Who are we going to possess? He's going to tell you. And they shall take them captives whose captives they were, right? That's who we gonna possess in the land. The people who had us in slavery during the Greco-Roman, these different kingdoms, right? Babylonian Empire, the Egyptian Empire, right? The Greco-Roman Empire, the Persian, the Mede Empire, right? Different times we went against Moab. All these different nations, they about to go into captivity. They about to become a possession, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear, right? Because it says in Deuteronomy, you shall have fear and trembling of heart. The Lord's gonna take that away from us. We ain't gonna be afraid of a motherfucking thing. You ain't gonna worry about, am I gonna eat today? You're not gonna worry about, will I live through the day, or am I gonna die today, or all these different things. That's these heathens. There's gonna be day times to worry about that, right? Because we're gonna be made perfect with the laws in our minds and our hearts. So without sin, there's no death, eternal life, right? The Lord's gonna make us perfect. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve, right? And that thou shalt take up the proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how have the oppressor seized and the golden city seized, right? Here we are in Babylon the Great, and we're seeing the kingdom fall apart, the kingdom collapse, right? And it's going to become a proverb. Damn, how did y'all fall apart? You had everything, right? It says the Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked, showing you that Esau, the white man, is the wicked. The Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. He that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth. It says the whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. It's going to be a celebration on the earth when the so-called white man go down. Imagine when they see Babylon the Great get destroyed. At first, really the rejoicing is coming from Israel. Fuck the other nations. These other nations, man, they depend on Esau Edom. Right? That was their stronghold. So they going to be in a pitiful case. They going to be fucked up. Right? It talks about the shipmasters when they saw the smoke and the torment of her burning. Right? They was fucked up. Right? It says the whole earth is at rest, but other nations, they gonna be happy because everybody know Babylon the Great is the only people gonna be happy is the businessmen around the world who had made a league and a pact with Esau Edom. But shit, the Arabs, when they see America get destroyed, they gonna be happy. When they see Babylon get destroyed, they gonna be happy. Moab, they gonna be happy. Russia gonna be happy. Right? It's those businessmen. I'm gonna say it again, it's the businessmen. But guess what? At the same time, the Lord's gonna intervene and clap all these other motherfucking rulers. Right? The Lord's going to intervene to take over. It says the whole earth is at rest and quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no fellers come up against us. Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming, and stir up the dead for thee. Even all the chief ones of the earth that have raised from their thrones all the kings of the nations, right? We're living in a time where, man, the Lord's about to kick off a war so big that it's going to affect every human being on earth, right? For thou, let me read this. It says how, verse 10, it says, all they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Right? The so-called white man. Right? That's why this man is in fear, man. He used to be superior. He used to be over the, man, the other people looked at you like you were a god. Like you was a god on earth. Right? Like, who could bring him down to the ground, right? Because you had that nuclear capability the Lord gave. It says the first horse came out red. That great sword was given unto his ass. He had the nuclear capability. Also, he had the sword, man. Look at how would you think he took down the Native Americans? The Native Americans was laying his ass the fuck down, scalping crackers, chopping their asses up, hitting their asses with arrows from far. And then the Lord said, man, bring that Gatling gun. That Gatling gun was tearing them Native Americans the fuck up. And that shit changed everything, right? Because he was blessed with the sword. This is the wicked. This is Esau Edom. It says, all they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Right? Because these other nations have the same weaponry you have. They got nukes. They got tanks. They got flying planes and jets and B-2 bombers and all type of things. Right? It says like pomp is brought down to the grave. And you know what else they got? They got unity. Right? They coming together against one nation, against Esau. Like pomp is not just Esau, really Babylon the Great America. Right? Babylon the Great America. Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vows, the worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. It says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weakest the nations? Right? And we see this man is fallen. It says, for thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation, the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Right? These men, he saw them establish himself as the chosen people on the earth. He saw them took over the Bible, claiming he's the Christians. Right? He then took over this Catholic Church. Right? Setting up false images of who himself as the Lord. It says, yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. Right? And these devils, they don't want none of these scriptures. That's why they burning the Bible. Right? That's why they about to make the Bible like it's a hate book. They've been doing that. They've been doing that because this book is not for them. It's for who? The descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, which is the Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, the scattered speckled seed of Israel. And shit, it's time to wake up. Shalom.